Hello everyone, welcome. Today is November 14th. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. There's quite a bunch to discuss today, guys. We will discuss, first of all, we'll discuss today's CPI and market analysis. Are we really back in a bull market? We'll talk about our big swing winners on bunch of names like Google, EXPE, Tesla, CRWD. We'll talk about our swing winners. And I also want to discuss Friday recap, just few winners from our Friday community long big winners. I was away yesterday and on Sunday for a big fintech event in NYC, so I could not post those updates. So I would post some Friday recaps as well, guys. We'll discuss swing winners, market analysis, and future swing environment. So you can scroll to whatever part you want from bottom if you are not interested in other parts of this episode. For today, we'll discuss our big win on HD, huge short win on SE, loser idea on SNAP, how we killed solar sector today, ENPH and solar sector, all day winner on SPY QQQ, IWM Breakout, SMCI idea, NVDA Guidance as well. So let's start. So let's look at some of our swing winners from community and some of also my ideas on Twitter. So since the market VIX has gone under 18 and 20, and since we have seen the yields going down, the market has been showing us a good swing market, and the swings have been working, and that's what we are going to look at. Are we ready to find some more swings? So since the yields have gone down, since the yields have been breaking down, the market has been showing us a good swing environment. Today's CPI, which came lower, basically after the CPI came, Fed fund rates were pricing in that we might see rate cuts in next year, May or June or something like that. And then it further was convincing investors that later this year the Fed might pause and then next year we start cutting. So that's why we were gapping up today. But what important thing to note is that US dollar really fell down. US dollar really broke down today. If you see, let's see if we can see the index that we usually look at. US dollar index was down 1.5% today as well, and yields were down 4%, 30-year was down 2%, and VIX is down another 4% today. So the point is that this is when this happens, the market starts to investors starts to pay more for the growth assets or the stock assets. So we're definitely seeing some money flowing in, but one day doesn't make a trend, but overall things are looking bullish. So we could run up into end of the year or next Fed rate decision. So based upon that, I plan to do a lot of chart reviews, setups, and already the swings that are working, and based upon that, we will capitalize on any momentum that we see. So that's how today we saw the big momentum in the solar sector. If you look at the solar sector, ENPH, First Solar, which were big trades in the community today, they ran because when the rates go down, these growth assets are the ones which benefit the most. And similarly, IWM, which we were long today as well for a huge win, with SMCI being part of IWM. So these mid caps also benefit a lot when yields are breaking down, because then investors would turn towards these stock assets for investing in them. So IWM was also green today. So when IWM starts moving, that provides a lot of good swing setups as well. Similarly, fintech, which is a very beaten down sector, was up today. PayPal, Square, I have added few more. I need to add few more of there that are doing it. So they would can provide some good setups as well. Cloud stocks, Anet, which we are already swinging, Twilio, Adobe Now, CRM. So a bunch of these names can provide us good risk reward analysis for swing trades, guys. So this is what I'm thinking. So the market, if I look at the SPY charts, SPY has been breaking out, the weekly has been breaking out. We really need to hold this gap and push over 450 for the continued trend. We do not want yields to push up back again. We need a continuous fall back towards 434, and this will help us to further push on the market if the yields, ideally if the yields ever break this big breakout that I posted on Twitter a few months back. If we break that, or it subsides further under this level 434s, then market will push, our swings will work, so environment will stay steady, and VIX ideally goes under 14, stays there. As long as VIX under 15, our swing market would stay intact. And so let's see if we can look at NASDAQ futures. NASDAQ futures are breaking out. If they break out of 16,000, this area, then we get further push, and our tech swings would benefit from them as well. So focus on the NASDAQ chart, really like it. So filter your, we in our community, we keep eye on the market, all the sectors, semi sectors, solar, cloud, China, all the sectors, and that's how we find those swings. My strategy is always to swing when market environment is good, and I don't like to buy the dips. I like to buy high, sell higher. And let's look at some of our swing winners, right? EXPE, which is EXP is over, up 9% from the swings. PIN is up 7%. Google is up 4% for us. Tesla is up 15% from our swing. And risk reward, AI is starting to move, right? SRPT is up 34%. CrowdStrike is up 26%, right? Only the BABA is down. So all these swings, usually I link them up to my my Twitter links, where I talk about these swings. You can go there, you can click, and you can see that if I post it, but I post the analysis first for my community, and plan to add many more swings. We have a bunch of swings which are on watch, and looking forward. And of course, this is never a financial advice, these are for educational purpose only. Just want to show you how a swing works before and after, no hindsight. And if you just take today's example, when I posted this idea on NVIDIA, so this, the chart idea I posted, which I can show you. So talking about this NVIDIA idea, right? So when I gave this NVIDIA idea on Twitter, we started from, so the chart idea was given from this level of 460.61 Fibonacci from the highs, and the pattern, then it went 463, 466, 467, and then 482, and towards the target 500. So the point is, a lot of these patterns are starting to work and paying us good. So we need to find more of these setups. Other setups are working. If you see Google, my swing idea that I gave at 128 is working. EXPE, another swing idea I talked at 112s. Tesla, my idea in the community was versus when we held this 200 level right here. So that was very key, and then we pulled back and again held this 20400 level. So this was the risk 200 swing ideas. So the point is, we have started to see the patterns working out. Similarly for AMD setup, downtrend channel break. So we are seeing our swing setups working, the psychological numbers working, holding up, and then our other A plus setups like DUOL, the swing that I gave at 200, we did a day trade, and then 200, then our swing of Anet breaking the 200 big pivot. So the swings like those are high probability, which are already paying us, and this is where we're going to focus, and I will try to teach more and show more you guys about these swing setups in coming days. In my coming videos we will discuss those kind of swing setups as well. I do plan to do a webinar on the swings. If you're interested, do join my community. This discount code should be up there, and then we will go from there. All right, guys, that's enough for the swing winners, recaps, market analysis. Let's go back, look at the few of recent winners, day trade winners for us last 2 days. So I want to recap a few of the big trades for us on Friday. So of course I was not available yesterday. We were at the conference, but I do want to talk about these from Friday winners. So U was one of the big winners, huge winners on Friday, where some of the option strikes went even 500%. This was a gap down reversal setup, right? So this was, I was showing in my webinar about the risk reward, right? If you risked even if you risk this area, and then your reward was 2-3 times your risk. So what was the U trade? So U was reversal over the EMA Clouds, the pivot breaking. This is confirmation that it's trying to reverse, and right here are set risk levels, and then it's a gap fill trade. It filled the gap. You can see my commentary. Some of the comments are not here, but this was the pre-market plan to long U versus 21 level, and then when it pushes over EMA Clouds, you add into your long. So all day guidance, my target was 26, then 26.50, and then all day U was a big winner for us on Friday. So let's look at some of today's winners. So today's watch list was pretty small: HD, SE, Tesla, NVIDIA, Snap, CSI, QONDEC. These were the news plays today in the community, and of course there was market plays, which we'll discuss how we played the market gap up. As I will discuss later how I talked about this flag breakout in the morning, how it paid us all day. So let's start with the first play of the day, HD. So talking about HD today, so HD was on the watch list today, this morning, because of the news, and the plan was it's a neutral bias versus because 300 is always a psychological level. I talk about that level often, right? So I was long on HD this morning right at open. The risk was defined $300. So if it broke 300, I would get out, and if it holds 300, I will stay in. So that was, I was long right at open, first 5 minutes. So it worked pretty good. So we hit 306.69. My targets were 307.90, 310, 311 were my targets. We hit 306.81 initially for first profit taking. Then it was pulling back, and I was noticing that if it breaks this 304, this candle lowers or not. But if you can see this candle, a little hammer there, it reclaimed that level and held the trend. So that's what I said, held the trend, and then it was going for a target. Then it hit over, it went to 308.20, and then it was pulling back. I realized that a lot of resistance is here, so took more profit there. And then finally it went sideways. It was not doing much, and then finally took off the last piece as well with the market, because it's going to pull back. I said it's going to pull back, and that's what it did. So it was a decent trade at the open as per the plan. Depending on your entry, depending on where your risk reward was. If your risk was at let's say 300, wherever you entered, it was two reward to one risk trade. So this was Home Depot. Let's go to the next trade. So SC was the plan. As I said earlier, there were not many plays today, but we had a plan for SC in the pre-market. It was a gap down setup as always, and it was already bouncing versus the pre-market lows in the pre-market, right? So it was trying to give a B minus bounce, although I was not really interested to long it because it was still under the EMA cloud bearish trend. So as soon as the market opened, it started to pull back down, breaking the 512 EMAs. So I was watching that, and I know some of the people in community did hit it right away. But my thing was it was really short under 40. You know, you can always add a starter here, and I actually traded more once it broke that level, and that's when I said rejecting EMA clouds. So I said keep eye on 40. It's still in the bearish trend. So if you add starter, you know your risk is over this candle or this candle, and then you wait, and then 40 breaks you add into it. And I said 40 breaks can go lower, scalp short, any bounces, you know, used to be, it was a good swing, you know, we swung it previously. But anyways, so then it was all about your targets, right? So for my first target was this low of the pre-market, you know, the wick low, and that was 38.40. The first target met, and then I covered 1/3. Then our 37.48 was my next target, as you can see. So it met our next target of 37.48 somewhere here as well, and then it broke again. You know, this held, it breaks previous lows, it goes further down. Same pattern. You know, it's riding 512 EMA cloud down, so no reason to cover. And then it my next target was 37.48. Then it broke that. You know, 38 puts went 200%. My next target was low 36s, right? 36s, and then 35.74. Then it faded further, and the low of the day was 35. Let's see, what was the low here? 35.59 was the low of the day. And then you know, I'm holding some puts because the daily chart is really bearish, and I think we can see more. So I'm swinging some puts, but already a big huge winner. If you talk about the stock, if you risked $1 or $2 and it gave you $5, so that was like more than 2.5 risk reward setup. So very easy, stress free. Even in the bull market we were shorting because the sellers were heavy, right? Everything was running, but this was heavier. So that was our SC, huge trade. Let's go to the next one. So Snap was bullish bias versus 1180. You know, there was this room, there was quite a room between the EMA clouds and how I discuss in my webinars, talk about the best setups and which gives you the best risk to best reward. Nevertheless, I had a starter. You know, it was showing me a flag breakout. Then the flag breakout did not come because the 10 a.m. reversal came and it pulled back. Seller was here 1, 2, 3, and then big red candle. So that was the warning to get out. So you know, I took 30 cents loss on it and then just moved on. So the first thing I tweeted today was on the solar names, right? If you see, even if you followed me on the Twitter and in the community, I was focusing on the solar names, right? Because solar names were strong, the CPI was lower, and solar names were benefiting from the, you know, they would benefit from the lower interest rates because you know, they have been they always priced high in this low rate rate environment. They are priced higher. But anyways, the point was, it was the whole sector was strong. You know, I have a solar sheet that we talk about in the community. The whole sector was strong and it was in the gap. If you look at the daily chart, ENPH was in the gap, and the focus, even though SEDG was good, you could have picked up any of the solar name today. They all would have worked, but my focus was ENPH. If you see there, I said price alerts in the community, 85, 84.97. ENPH price alerts comes in, it goes into the gap. I tell everyone it's in the gap, meaning we can fill the gap. You can watch the pullback on that or SEDG, and then it kept pushing. We filled the gap and it even bet higher than the gap. So it was an easy trade on ENPH. If you see at the opening push in the gap over 85, held the gap, held the EMA cloud trend. You add on this dip at 85, you know, this pullback, and then you ride the trend as long as it holds, and it turned out to be really good. You know, your stops were supposed to be under 85. So if you missed the first candle, you could add here and stops under 85, and went on to go almost $92. So you know, that was also like 1 risk to 4 reward trade. So that was ENPH today. So this is what it is, right? We keep eyes on, you know, we keep eyes on what is strong. You know, what is the setup? Why was ENPH my focus? Because of the gap, right? So that was the idea on ENPH. And easy bullish day. This is the day when you deploy your cash and you hit it strong, right? So that's why you saw that my comments there on ENPH idea. So that was really good. Let's move to the next idea. So next was since the market was strong, everything was gapping up. Um, you know, my focus was, even though I missed the entry, but in the community many people were trading it. So I said in the pre-market that SMCI should be your usual watch. So what did SMCI do? It pulled up, it pulled back, held the EMA cloud, and then it got over the recent high. That's the breakout. You can add your risk could be under 272s ideally, $3 risk, but you ended up make like almost not really $20, but still. So it was like 1 to 6 risk reward idea. So you know so that's what you can see here. We keep eyes on everything what's moving. You just need to, and you don't need to do crazy size. You can go in a so small size and see if it's working. If it's working, you add more into it. So you see, it was not focusing too much on the marketplace today, um, like NVIDIA and others, but SMCI definitely was good because the gap was still okay. And the other point is IWM was strong. So what is IWM, right? As I talked earlier, IWM is a mid-cap growth names Russell ETF, and my long idea was versus 174. There was a typo. I missed that. So anyways, the long idea was versus 174s, and then the breakout was 176s. So we broke out of 176. That's when I mentioned to add wherever you add. 174 is your risk, and then I started pushing. We locked 130. You can see here my comments, and then I said lock more IWM, and then we kept pushing all day on IWM. As long as the trend holds, you hold. Just keep moving your stops up. So all you had to do was keep moving your stops up, and and you just ride the trend. Once you have a good entry, make sure you move your stops up and just you ride the trend. So IWM, I'm swinging a little bit this as well. So let's talk about NVIDIA, right? So NVIDIA, my guidance was same. So my guidance on NVIDIA was these two levels, 498 and 500 level, right? So the plan was if it pushes over those two levels, we will long versus those two levels because 498 is a big psychological level. But right then I saw the rejection on the 498 and on the 500, and that's when I knew that it's going to fill the gap, right? So it's a huge gap. It was a huge gap. If you look at it, there was a big gap, um, you know, and you could risk that highs. And I said don't long it. I said don't long it. It can go to 491, 490, because it's going to fill the gap. And it filled most of the gap. If not, it bounced from yesterday's highs. The resistance becomes support. So and bounce from, I know some people in the community were long because this level, and that's what I said, look where it bounced. I was not part of the bounces, but I was part of this. Talked about this gap fill. And later in the day, and because the other thing was Nvidia was also a swing, right? This was, you see the pattern here, and how it broke out. I already discussed it in the swing names. But anyways, my point I'm trying to tell you, you shouldn't be longing here because there was no confirmation, and then when it's going to reject the pre-market highs, it's going to do the gap fill, right? So that was the point, and that's how people in the community who are learning, and my followers who I teach, and even some of you on YouTube, what I'm talking about and the setup, and so you could easily capitalize on that. So that was NVIDIA guidance, guys. Let's move to the next one. So on idea was bullish versus the 67 levels, and I was watching the pullbacks. I personally never got any pullback, right? And the range was good. It pushed right because it's all about the risk, right? If you are not having a good risk reward, you know. So the point with the on was, even though I knew it's pushing, but there was no good entry. If I look at 3 minutes charts, maybe I could have had a good entry, because the first candle was pulling back, holding it, and wherever I add, my risk was still, way far. EMA Clouds right here in the 67. So anyways, it did end up going from the open when I said watch the pullbacks, and even if you added 1-4 starter, it did get pushed from 69.36 to 70.60, 70.61. So for me it was a void idea, but just wanted to show you another one of this one. So let's look at our SPY QQQ trades today. So there were two things, right? It was a big gap up, so we did not know, we didn't want to be stuck in the gap fill just like NVIDIA. And I was watching. Initially the candle rejected, and it rejected this pre-market highs and pulled back. And I was watching if it broke this range that you see here, then it was going to the gap fill, right? So I was watching. So far the rejections, no position, but it keeps rejection, then I will scalp to the downside. But then it held it, and I said it's held, flagging, holding the range, held the range, and then it was breaking the flag, and then flag breakout. Even I shared on Twitter before and after. From here to 449, 450 was my ideal target, because SPX was also going to 4500. There's also always a big level of rejection. And the clutch thing was Jed, our flow expert. He talked about how they are early in the morning and they were selling the puts. And Jed said, SPX, we could see that it's showing us a bullish institution, bullish. So based upon that, we were long, a nice long breakout trade on SPY and QQQ. You can check my Twitter as well for this timestamp before and after. And that was beautiful move on QQQ. Flagging, breaking the flag outside. SPY was always a little stronger, because you see QQQ showed some rejection candles, but SPY was still strong because the call flow was keep coming in. So Tesla, which is also one of our swings today, again it was a gap up. I was not getting the best risk reward setup, because I knew it could pull back to 230, and I said if 232 don't hold, it can pull back to 230, and it did almost pull back, but then it bounced back with the market, because a lot of call flow was coming in. Then Win came back later in the day. He called about how the dips are being soaked, and then it bounced from and reclaimed the 512 EMA Clouds, and then it went on an uptrend all day. So that was a call by Win on Tesla guidance. Apart from those, there was a bunch of other things going on. Baba had a call flow, because we have all these scanners in the community and we keep eyes on everything. And Baba had a big call flow at open that I mentioned on the voice, and it really made a decent move after that call flow. So it broke out of this nice little breakout pattern here and moved higher. So guys, yes, overall very bullish market, good market for day trading, as long as we see the trend. Same principles apply. We 10 AM concepts, VIX is really low, and we just follow those repeatable systems. As you see today, my focus mostly was on news plays, even though the market plays were decent. Microsoft is breaking all-time highs, but this gap up spoiled a lot of those plays, right? So we traded them accordingly. So that was it, guys, for today. If you want to join the community, come trade with me, follow my guidance, or get more of the swing ideas. Use the coupon code given above, and come for learning ideas. Do not come for buy sell alerts. All right, guys, see you around later. Bye.